Hey everyone, and welcome to this month's webinar. I'm so excited you guys joined us. As you can see, this month I'm joined by a very special guest, and we're covering a topic that you guys have requested so many times in past webinars. So I'm very excited to have the incredible Katharine Cane leading today's Fetish Specialist webinar. So, Katharine, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Katharine Cane. I guess the major question is like, why am I the one that's talking on this? So I'm going to share a little bit about myself. So I have been interested in kink and fetish basically since I was like legal age. So like 12 years, giving away my age there. And I basically came to CAM because of that interest. I was really active in the San Francisco kink community, and because kink.com is located there, that was very adjacent to people who just did BDSM for fun. And I decided I wanted to shoot for kink because they had the best toys and the most experienced doms, and it sounded really fun to me. And the best way to do that was to start camming for their cam company that eventually Flirt acquired. So, 10 years later, I've built a life for myself on cam and continued to learn and educate myself on these sort of more niche topics and interests. So, yeah.
Yes, guys. So as you can see, Katharine is an expert. She's lived it. She knows everything. So today's class is going to be an intro because there's a lot to talk about. If you guys want to throw out any questions in the chat or in the question tab, I'm going to keep track of them. And at the end, we're going to go around and do a Q&A together. So feel free to send all your questions. And then I'll try to do it real quick. Chicos, para todos los que se unen a este seminario que hablan español, Katharine Cane es una experta en el mundo de fetiche. Ella trabajó para la página de kink.com y grabó escenas con ellos. Ella nos va a estar guiando ahora, es como una introducción al mundo de fetiche. Yo voy a estar haciendo el traslado. ¿Cómo se dice el traslado? Se lo voy a decir en español cuando ella termine cada tópico. All right, are we ready to get started?
Yeah, if you want to open the
Let's do it.
PowerPoint. Okay, and then I can just click through this. Cool. So welcome. I'm really excited for everyone joining us. So fetish, it is a huge topic. Essentially, it's any form of sexual desire in which gratification is linked to an abnormal degree to a particular object, item of clothing, part of the body, etc. So that's like really broad. And so, lots of things can be fetishes, whether it's like, I just made like a random list here of some things off the top of my head. Feet, nylons, shaving, armpits, wax play, like it's such a huge thing that I really was like, okay, if we have an hour and this is an introduction, I really need to narrow it down because all of these things I could just go off on huge tangents about. So I figured we would focus on BDSM, which in and of itself is so broad. But it seemed like a good starting point. Also sort of like my most specialist niche, and also the one where you're going to run into like the most safety concerns most frequently. So what does BDSM stand for? A lot of people don't know. They have like a vague idea. Some of the letters have two words that go with them. So it's bondage, discipline, dominance, submission, sadism, and masochism. So getting tied up, discipline's pretty self-explanatory. Being the bossy one, taking orders, liking to hurt others consensually, or enjoying pain yourself.
Let me translate real quick. So, chicos, esa es como una introducción al mundo de fetiche. Hay muchísimos tópicos de los que podemos platicar, pero en este seminario, Katharine se va a enfocar en unos tópicos más específicos. El primero es BDSM, que es como uno de los más comunes. Aquí empieza diciendo qué significa esta palabra para los que no lo sabemos. La B es para bondaje, la D para disciplina o dominancia, la S para sumisión y la M para masoquismo. Bondaje, claro, es como atarnos, disciplina es como ser el dominante, el que está en el cargo, el sumisivo es el que está recibiendo las órdenes, y masoquismo es disfrutar del dolor o disfrutar de darle dolor a otro con consentimiento. All right, all you.
Sorry, I keep forgetting me to pause. Feel free to jump in and stop me.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so we're going to start with submission. This is sort of where I first started. I feel like it's really easy to start. There's kind of the like stereotypical, like, at least for women, like you start as a sub and then you age out and you become a dom. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but it is sort of like a common thread in like bookings for fetish porn. So, you know, we're going to start with submission. If that's not your bag, there's still some good pointers here because as a dom, you will need to keep some of these things in mind when you are working with someone who is submissive, particularly the safety stuff. So submissive pointer number 1, remember you control the scene, set limits. So whether this is in real life or in your cam room, like if you don't like to do something, be upfront about that. Be like, this is a hard limit for me. We're not going to do this. And if at any point you're like, wow, this is too intense, or wow, I'm not having fun, or wow, like if it feels like he's doing humiliation, but he's getting really personal and I don't feel safe, you can back out. You can safe word. You can say, I'm sorry, I need to end this. No amount of money is worth your safety, whether that is emotional, physical, mental. Always remember, like, you can step out at any point in time, even if you are the sub. Ask questions. So usually when someone comes into my cam room and starts a show and they have hinted that they want to be a dom, I will start with like, what title do you prefer? And sort of set the tone of like me being attentive and me listening and wanting to do things on their terms. Again, I'm always in control, but it's creating the illusion of control for them. Do you want me to pause there so you can translate? It's already a lot.
No, I was actually taking notes because that was so good. I've never heard anybody say that because like a lot of models have done webinars with me and they've said, they given examples of questions that they ask at the beginning of a show, but like that specifically, like what title do you prefer? I've never heard that. And that's so good. I'll translate really quick. So chicos, Katharine estaba hablando y dice que ella inició en el mundo de fetiche como más submisiva. Y lo importante que ella ha aprendido durante los años es que tienes que recordar que tú controlas la escena, tú controlas el cuarto en ese momento. Es importante que tú tengas tus límites y que lo dejes ahí, especialmente porque a veces quizás van a pedir algo con lo que no te sientes cómodo, algo que no te hace sentir seguro. Es importante saber que aunque en esta escena se hace el sumisivo o la sumisiva, que aún tienes el control y puedes decir, sabes que no, sabes que esta es mi límite y no me paso de ahí, o sabes que se acabó aquí, ya no me siento cómodo con esta escena, o lo que sea. Lo otro que dijo que se me hizo súper interesante es que cuando a ella le entra un cliente que ella ve que quizás es un cliente más dominante, más que quiere como dominar, siempre hace muchas preguntas y al inicio siempre le pregunta al cliente cuál es el título que más prefieres, porque eso le da la sensación como que él tiene un poco más de control porque ya le estás haciendo la pregunta, ¿cómo te debería llamar? Eso, muy buena tip. Okay, all you.
So tip number 3, you might know more than them. You will probably know more than them unless they happen to be like a very experienced lifestyler. So you'll need to sort of like drive shows, whether that is being like, hey, this bondage idea you have, that's not really going to work. Could we try this instead? Or, hey, it's been 20 minutes and I've been in cuffs this whole time. I need to come out because my hands are starting to get tingly, which means we're going to have some nerve damage if I don't take them off soon. Or it could just be like, hey, like, I know you want me to wear handcuffs behind my back, but I can't walk around the room doing that because if I fall, I can't catch myself. And that's not safe. So just sort of respectfully, while keeping the air of like, you're still in charge. I just have this little thing, and like asking more as like a request of like, hey, this is the problem. How can we fix this? How can I change this for you? So still very much driving the show without like getting defensive or being like, no, hard stop. Like you can do that, but if you want to keep the show going and you aren't at like a safer point or at a point where you're like, we need to end this, just sort of like doing it in a way that like gives them options, and sort of like doesn't point out that they don't know what they're doing. Some doms are bullies. They're not actually doms. We are on the internet, and not everyone who comes to our cam room is safe. And I feel like, especially since like 50 Shades of Grey came out, a lot of guys like fancy themselves as doms, and really they just like want to talk shit. They don't know anything about like keeping a submissive safe, that the submissive is actually in charge. They don't respect safe words. And if you encounter someone like this, like you'll get a feel for it very quickly of like, oh, you aren't a safe person and you don't care about my well-being. You kind of just hate women or you hate people and you want to see them like suffer. I avoid these people, and I usually end these shows very quickly because, again, like no amount of money is worth my safety and my well-being, and it's not fun for me to work with these guys. So, like, keep in mind, not every guy who says he's a dom actually deserves your submission. There are some that do not respect boundaries and are not safe people, and don't be afraid to walk away. Like, honestly, there are more customers, there are more clients. Like, I don't care if it's been a day where you haven't got a single tip, it's still not worth it. 5, ask for more. Oh, I do want to pause and translate that. That was a big piece of info.
Yeah, let me do that one real quick. So, chicos, lo que platicamos ahorita fue el número 3 y 4, que es que en algunos casos tú como modelo vas a saber más que el cliente, especialmente como salieron en las películas de los 50 colores de gris, creo que se diría en español. Mucha gente piensa que es experto en el mundo de fetiche, pero quizás no sabe mucho. So, es importante tú como modelo guiar, aunque seas el submisivo en esta escena, guiar la escena, 1, para que sea más larga, y 2, para que sea mejor para ti. So, por ejemplo, unos ejemplos que ella dio es si un cliente te dice que tengas las manos atadas. Si ya han pasado 30 minutos y aún tienes las manos atadas y te está empezando a doler, quizás sugerir mover el show en otra dirección para que siga y tú para que estés más cómodo. Lo otro que digo es, por ejemplo, si te dicen que te ates las manos atrás de la espalda y que estás caminando por tu sala, por tu cuarto, quizás decir, ¿sabes qué? Me puedo atar las manos detrás de mi espalda, pero no voy a caminar por mi cuarto porque por si acaso yo me caigo, no me voy a poder cachar. Eso es importante que aunque tú seas el submisivo en esta escena, que aún tomes cargo de la escena de manera como más respetuosa para que el cliente aún tenga esa fantasía que es el dominante. Lo otro que estaba diciendo es que no todos los dominantes son dominantes, algunos son, no sé cómo se dice, pero como bullies, son gente que solo está aquí para molestar o que quiere tratarte mal. Y ella estaba diciendo que es importante recordar que tú como modelo estás a control. Si no te sientes cómodo con algo así, pararlo en ese momento para que no continúe. All right, all you.
Cool. 5, ask for more. Ask for someone to tip additionally for things. So some things that like I don't mind doing, but they are like harder on my body is like large anal toys. I charge extra for that. I really hate spanking my pussy and will only do it with my bare hands. I won't use impact toys like paddles, crops, or anything to do that. But I charge extra per spank because I don't like doing it. And so if you come across things, it's like, like this isn't my favorite, but it's not a hard limit for me. I just don't really want to do it. Charge more for it. Like you can always give them the option to pay more and make it more worth your while. And then most of the time they don't want to do that, so you don't have to do it anyways. Or they pay you extra and like you set the limit. Like you can set a sky high amount, and every once in a while someone will be like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna do that. And you're like, cool, well, you know, I made an extra $400 for doing that thing that isn't my favorite. And use the notes feature. So I don't know if anyone has noticed this. I feel like I use it a lot, but if you right click someone's screen name, you have the option to put in notes. I maybe use this like a little too obsessively because I will put like petty indiscretions, like this guy was rude on this date in there. But I will also put like this person really likes these few things. This person's name is this. Their preferred title is this, so that when they come back to my room, it's like I remember them. I don't remember them. Like very rarely, unless like you tip 5,000 credits, like am I going to be like, yeah, you're special, I remember you. But I will have the illusion of remembering them and remembering what they like and what their preferences were. And it's really easy right after private to just open up notes and put the information in there. And you can access it when people enter your room. They'll have a little symbol by their screen name letting you know you've taken notes on them before. And it is such a valuable tool that not many sites have. Like Fleur is one of the few cam sites I've encountered that actually have that, and it is such a powerful tool. So definitely use that.
Chicos, ella habló de dos cositas. Número 5 es siempre preguntar por más. Si un cliente te pide algo que no te encanta, por ejemplo, quiere usar un juguete anal o quiere que te uses como una tabla para pegarte o lo que sea, pedir más. Si es algo que no te gusta, pero te sientes cómodo haciendo. Claro, si es algo que no haces, pues no lo hagas. Pero, por ejemplo, si ahora no quieres usar un juguete analmente, pero un cliente te lo pide, puedes decir, ¿sabes qué? Lo hago, pero vas a tener que pagar mucho más. O en vez de pagar 200, tienes que pagar 400 o algo así. Entonces, el cliente decide que no vale la pena, no lo hacemos. Si dice que sí, pues ganas dinerito extra. Eso es lo que está diciendo, que a veces es importante hacerlo, porque si no lo hacen, por ejemplo, si no están de acuerdo en pagar más, no lo tienes que hacer y no lo querías hacer tanto de todas formas. Si sí lo hacen, pues lo haces y ganas extra. Lo otro que platicó es usar las notas. Es muy, muy, muy importante usar las notas. Haz right click en el nombre del usuario, abre las notas y pon lo que les guste, el título que quieren, los juguetes favoritos, cualquier cosa, y así cuando él regrese, aunque tú no lo recuerdes, vas a poder hacer la fantasía de que lo recordaste. Okay, all you.
Cool. Some basic safety things. These are just some of the like top things I thought of off the top of my head that I encounter the most. There is so much to safety, but this is a good place to start. So practice. If you're going to tie yourself up or put yourself in handcuffs or leather cuffs, whatever it is, make sure you can get out before you're in private chat. I also like to set the limit of like, if you want both my hands tied behind my back, you need to let me out before you leave, or I will revoke your ability to come to my cam room, because it's not okay to ditch me in bondage. Because like I have a remote, but not all cams have remotes, and you don't want to be naked back in public chat, like struggling to get out of bondage. So practice. I suggest if you're new to this and haven't done a lot of self bondage, practicing with someone else home or like with a friend nearby, so that you can be like, hey, I'm stuck and I need help getting out. Because it does happen. And sometimes it's like, oh, my shoulder doesn't bend like that, or my hands are too sweaty, I can't get the key in there. So practice is really, really important. Speaking of keys, keep a key, a spare key, and another key nearby. Also, if you're going to do rope bondage, have safety scissors to cut yourself out, because you don't want to get stuck. So I have a key I keep with my handcuffs. I have one I keep on the bedside table, and I also keep a handcuff key on my key ring with my house keys. So I've always got one. There's no like, oh, we're going to have to saw this off me. And I keep safety scissors as well in case I cut myself out. Same goes like if you're tying someone else up, have safety scissors nearby. If they have a medical emergency, if they have an asthma attack and you need to get them out fast, you cannot untie them fast enough. So good rule of thumb is to always have an exit plan. Another thing about bondage, if your hands are tied behind your back, do not go anywhere. You cannot catch yourself, and a 2-foot fall can break your jaw, can break your neck. Like it doesn't seem like a lot, but like it does not take much. So if you cannot catch yourself because your hands are behind you, not in front of you, don't go anywhere. If they ask you to walk around the room, say, hey, I can't do that. I can move my hands in front of me. Or, could we just stay here, and explain why? And usually they're like, oh, I didn't think of that. That's really smart. I don't want you to be unsafe. If anything goes numb or tingly, get out of bondage. I like to sort of like grip and ungrip my hands to sort of keep circulation going, and like touch my fingers if I'm in bondage for a long period of time, because if I have trouble doing any of that, or my hands get kind of cold or clammy, it's my indication like it's time to come out. I would say err on the side of caution until you're really comfortable with bondage, but loss of circulation for a long period of time can cause nerve damage. It's not always permanent, but it can be, or it can last for quite a long time, and it's terrible. You just got like pins and needles in your hands all the time, or a loose feeling. It's not good, and we don't want that. So be mindful. Just because you can't feel it, that may not be a good thing too. So make sure like you can keep moving things, and when it's time to come out, it's time to come out. There's no extending that. Let's see. Metal does not go in your mouth. I did not know about this. I think about this, and I have a chipped front tooth from putting nipple clamps chains in my mouth, because that's a really common request. It looks really good. Guys want you to put on nipple clamps and then put the chain in your mouth and kind of like yank on your boobs with it. But metal chips teeth. So with cheap ring gags that have a metal ring, or with nipple clamps, just don't do it. Dental bills are really expensive and can be really painful. Electro toys, don't get moist or touch metal. So that includes, like, I have pierced nipples. So if guys want me to use my zapper, which is the only electro toy I have because I'm not a big fan of electricity, and they want me to use on my boobs, I'm like, hey, we got to do another area. Because if this hits my piercing and arcs, which is a thing electricity does, it can cause serious burns. And also, you don't want to get anything electrical moist, so don't use it on your tongue, don't use it on your pussy. Just avoid any wet, moist areas. Not all candles are safe for wax play. So I like to use those cheap altar candles that you get at like the dollar store that are just cheap paraffin wax. You can get specific wax play candles too. Stay away from anything with scented oils. The oils could heat up and get really, really hot. Also beeswax, same thing. It gets far too hot and can cause serious burns. And finally, if your body says no, if it doesn't feel right, stop. Don't keep going. Like don't push through bad pain. We want good pain. We don't want bad pain. All right. Have fun translating that.
Luckily, I have all the pointers here, so it makes it easy. But honestly, that was so good. I learned so much stuff just like right there. But okay, chicos. So, estas son los tips para estar seguros, para estar, para no herirnos mientras estamos haciendo este tipo de shows. So, lo primero que dijo Katharine es practicar, especialmente con bondaje a sí mismo, que es algo que muchos van a hacer en el mundo de modelaje de cam, es que es un poquito difícil. So hay que practicar, idealmente hacerlo con alguien cerca, disponible, que les pueda ayudar si se quedan atorados cuando se bondan. Lo otro es si van a usar algo como las esposas, tener una llave y tener una llave extra por si necesitas salirte de eso. Lo tercero es, si vas a tener las manos atadas detrás de tu espalda, no te muevas demasiado, no camines, porque no vas a poder cacharte si te caes. Y una caída, aunque sea de una caída pequeña, puede herirte gravemente, puedes quebrarte, puedes herirte. Lo otro que digo que es muy, muy importante, si te atas o estás atado de alguna forma, cuando empiezas a sentir como que te está como vibrando poquito o empiezas a perder el sentimiento, ese es el momento en que hay que sacarnos del bondaje, porque si le seguimos, corres el riesgo de dañar tus nervios, que es algo que pues es grave. So, ese es el indicador de que hay que sacarnos de estar atados cuando eso pase. Otra cosa importante, lo metal no va en la boca porque te puede lastimar los dientes. O, por ejemplo, un ejemplo que dio Katharine es, a veces clientes les gusta que uses, no sé cómo se dice en español, pero los clamps. So, que te pongas los clamps acá y a veces esos tienen como una cadenita, que también es metal, y hay veces que clientes te piden que te pongas esa cadena en la boca. Katharine dice que hay que estar muy, como esa la que tiene ahorita en las manos. Si es de metal, no se la pongan en la boca porque te vas a dañar los dientes. Por si alguno de ustedes tiene juguetes eléctricos como de zaparse, es importante, claro, que no se mojen y dos, que esto tampoco no toque metal. So, por ejemplo, si tienes un piercing en el pecho o en algún lugar y un cliente te dice que te lo pongas, no lo hagas porque eso puede causar una herida, puede causar que se queme. Otra cosa súper importante que ella mencionó es si vas a hacer juego de wax, juego de cera, es importante usar velas de solo parafín. O sea, ella dice que regularmente esas son las velas más baratas. Velas súper bonitas o velas con un olor, no las usen porque el aceite que usan para darle olor puede subir a una temperatura súper, súper alta y quemarte. Igual si es cera de abeja, tampoco no usar eso porque esto es muy fácil de que sea una temperatura demasiado alta. So, usar velas sencillas, baratas, o también hay algunas velas que son específicamente para juego de cera. Lo último, chicos, es si tu cuerpo dice no, parar. Si algo empieza a doler, parar. Otra cosa que también dijo que hay que tener en cuenta, si estás haciendo algo y no lo sientes o no hay dolor, eso también hay que mantenernos al tanto porque puede ser que nos estemos causando daño y no lo estemos sintiendo. All right, all you.
All right, no hit zones. So there's parts of your body that like is totally fine to do impact play on. And impact play just means any sort of spanking, usually with spanking toys. If we have time, I'll try and go over some of those. But so this is a really helpful chart. I got it from oesplease.org. Also, if you just search safe hit zones or safe impact play zones, you can usually find something pretty similar. So you'll see the darker areas are like, yes, you're pretty safe using just about anything there, as long as you're comfortable with it. The lighter zones are a yes, but careful. So usually like bare hand only, or lightweight impact play toys like crops or lighter weight canes, no heavyweight paddles, especially on like the stomach. You got a lot of soft organs in there that you don't want to be hitting with something real hard. And then there's some no zones, and like you really want to avoid these areas because either it can be very damaging or you've got some organs under there, like the back, you've got the spine and the kidneys that you really want to watch out for. Tops of the feet, tops of the hands, you got some very small, fragile bones in there. So you just kind of want to avoid those areas. So again, if someone asks you to go for a not safe zone, you can be like, I can't really do that, but could I do this area instead? Or like, I can't do the tops of my feet, but I can do the bottoms of my feet. Is that okay? So just like a really helpful thing to keep in mind, particularly if you're new to this, to just sort of keep on the back burner.
Chicos, esta es una mapa del cuerpo que demuestra cuáles áreas, porque a veces van a haber clientes que te van a pedir que te pegues o que uses como una tabla para pegarte en ciertas partes del cuerpo. Esto demuestra cuáles son las partes que sí está bien, son las partes más oscuras, son las partes donde no te vas a dañar si te pegas. Las áreas un poquito más claritas son las áreas en las que hay que tener cuidado. Por ejemplo, aquí en el ombligo, porque hay muchos órganos delicados aquí y es un área del cuerpo un poquito más delicada. So, si nos vamos a hacer, con más cuidado. Mientras que las áreas blancas son las partes en las que no hay que pegar para nada. So, por ejemplo, la parte de arriba del pie o arriba de las manos, no hay que hacerlo porque los huesos de aquí son más pequeños y más delicados. La cabeza, la espalda, porque tenemos la espalda, hay que tener cuidado en esas áreas. So, lo que Katharine dice es que si un cliente dice que te pegues como en la espalda o en la parte de arriba del pie, decirle, sabes que no lo puedo hacer ahí porque no es seguro, pero lo puedo hacer en la parte de abajo del pie, o lo puedo hacer en la parte de arriba de mis piernas, o en mi pecho, o áreas así. So hay que tener cuidado en qué partes usamos en este tipo de escenas con clientes. All you.
All right, switching gears, dominant pointers. So if you like to be in control, I've definitely, as I've gotten older, leaned more towards this. Plus, like I'm really experienced, so it's really hard for me to like coddle baby doms that like don't know what they're doing, especially if they're not respectful. So this is definitely where I lean more now. I do like both. But I really enjoy this. So first and foremost, be responsible. We just went over a lot of safety stuff. Don't ask anyone to do any of the things that I said aren't safe. And like, keep in mind, like, they may be in a very vulnerable spot because they're choosing to give up control to you. So you need to hold that in a way, and like, yeah, take them for every penny they got, but like do it in a way where they still have a good time. And maybe not every penny, like leave them enough to pay rent. But as a dom, you are responsible for the submissive's well-being, and that means checking in. That means asking them like what hard limits they have. It means like sort of gauging the situation and giving in when like you think you're being a little too tough and they aren't having fun anymore. To figure out what makes you feel powerful. So like I am very much like a bitch. Like I am very much a cold divine bitch kind of dom, and that's where I run. But some people really like to be sort of more of a like mommy thing. Careful with that though. It gets incesty and we run into red flags there. Some like to be more sensual. So it's really finding like what sort of role as a dominant person, or I guess for guys it'd be daddy. Sorry, I'm so used to doing this sort of like in femdom context, but it works for guys too. But like what role makes you feel powerful, and makes you feel in your power, because that will be conveyed very easily. Like if you're feeling yourself, like that confidence is intimidating, and submissive clients love that. I'll let you translate those two.
So, chicos, Katharine empezó en el lado más sumisivo, ahora hace los dos tipos de show, pero prefiere y hace más shows más como el dominante, la dominante. Lo que ella dijo, el primer tip es hay que ser responsables, aunque tú seas el dominante. So, por ejemplo, si un cliente te entra y quiere ser el sumisivo, hay que ser responsables. So, hemos hablado de muchas cosas para todos mantenernos seguros, para no herirnos. So, hacer lo mismo con los clientes. No le pidas a un cliente que haga algo que puede causarles daño, puede herirlos. Lo otro también es que hay que estar seguros de qué es lo que nos hace sentir a nosotros poderosos, porque eso se va a transmitir en la cámara. Y entre más confianza, más confidente te veas, entre más seguro, más poderoso, eso les encanta a los clientes sumisivos, es lo que están buscando. Si tú entras a la cámara, te sientes súper bien, te sientes súper así, que te ves bien, que estás en buena forma, eso se va a transmitir en la cámara. So hay que hacer eso y sí, es importante también saber qué tipo de dominante eres. Katharine es una dominante más estricta, pero también hay que mantener esa línea donde somos estrictos porque somos el dominante, pero tenemos que también asegurarnos que el cliente esté pasando un buen rato. Si nosotros decimos, oye, ya fui demasiado estricto, parece que como que el cliente no se está divirtiendo tanto, hay que como bajarle un poquito para que los dos nos estemos disfrutando, para que el privado dure más. Y claro, hay que ser respetuosos con los clientes, al mismo tiempo que ser dominante y demostrar que tú eres el que está cargado en esta escena. Okay, all you.
Okay, set rules for your subs. So I have some universal rules. No matter what type of submissive I'm playing with, these rules apply to all of them. Always address me by title. I use the title princess because it trips them up because they want to call me mistress or goddess. I use a weird one, particularly to fuck with them. Like, That's the main reason. It's just because they aren't going to guess it right away. Their cock does not get hard, touched, or come unless I say so. No tips under 3 digits. They can't go to multi-user. They have to go to private. And they have to say please and thank you. Otherwise, like, I'm just going to be like, you didn't say please the whole time. And so having these rules, A, sets a guideline, and B, gives me things to nitpick to keep privates going on longer. Because it's like, oh, you asked for that? You said it wrong. Or like, please, may I come what? You forgot my title. And so like, A, it just sets a tone and sets like your guidelines, and B, like, it gives you so much to work with throughout a private, because like, you're not doing a real scene. You aren't actually physically tying them up. You aren't actually spanking them. You aren't making them crawl. You aren't making them kiss your feet. Because, you know, we are limited through the screen. While some use cam to cam and do a lot of stuff, for the most part, like, it's on you to like draw out the time. And so nitpicking rules is a really fun way to do that. And it just like fucks with them. It's really fun. Figure out what type of sub you're dealing with. So there's a lot of different types of subs. We'll go over that, but it's really important to be like, what are your interests? What about this aspect turns you on? Because the biggest part of domination is crawling inside someone's brain, sort of poking around and figuring out which switches to flip to make them have the best ride possible. So yeah, we'll go over the types in the next slide, I think, but that's real important too. I'll let you translate those couple and then we'll move on.
So chicos, el número 3 es hay que crear reglas para los sumisivos, para los clientes sumisivos. Una regla es cómo te van a llamar a ti, como tú eres el que está encargado. Katharine usa el título de princesa, uno, para sorprenderlos, porque es algo raro, regularmente la dominante es la reina o señor o señora, algo así. So, en este caso, ella lo hace así, uno, para hacerlo un poquito más difícil, porque es un hombre más raro, y dos, para hacer algo sorprendente. La otra cosa que recomienda ella es tener otras reglas. Por ejemplo, no pueden terminar hasta que tú le digas, o no pueden tocarse hasta que tú les des permiso. Porque esto va a alargar el show, porque como esto es todo virtual, tú no estás en ese cuarto para hacerlos que te besen los pies o que se aten las manos o que o hagan el tipo de cosas que harían en la vida real. So, este tipo de cosas, este tipo de reglas va a ayudarte a alargar los privados también con esos clientes. Lo otro que dijo es que es importante darnos cuenta qué tipo de sumisivo estás interactuando con. Y en la siguiente sección, ella va a hablar sobre los diferentes tipos de sumisivos. Es importante hacerle preguntas como cuáles son tus intereses, cuáles son tus fantasías, cosas así, para ayudarte a averiguar qué tipo de sumisivo está en la sala en ese momento.
All right. Ask questions. So this can be asking questions like, do you have any toys to play with? This can be questions like, what type of sub do you see yourself as? This could be questions like, do you have any hard limits? Any words you definitely don't want me to use? It's real important to figure out where they are and meet them there. And then their orgasm is their finish line, but it's not guaranteed. So for most guys, they come, they leave private. So when you are doming a guy, especially if you do orgasm control, which I do universally, that's just my policy. If a sub guy doesn't like it, he's not a sub guy I'm playing with. Push it out as far as possible. Make them beg for it. Make them wait for it. Make them tip extra for it. Make them want it so freaking badly that they just like will give you the keys to their life. And then maybe sometimes don't even let them come, like run out the clock. Because then they're going to come back, or they'll come back a week later and be like, I want to try again and spend another hour with you. So that sort of leads me into the next one, which is deny, 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 and then make them beg for it. So if a guy like wants to get your top off, I usually don't take my top off or any of my clothes off if I'm doming. I usually just sit there fully clothed. Again, this is why I'm leaning more and more towards this the older I get. so lazy now, and it's just great. But just like, no, why would I do that for you? You think you're special enough for this. And make them work for it. And then when you give in, they're like, oh, I am valuable. Oh, I am special. Oh, I got the cookie. I want more of this, and I'm willing to do anything for it. And so just like draw everything out, make them work for everything. And like, if a guy gives up and leaves, he's not a good sub client. You want the ones that are willing to play the game and really work for it, and therefore really spend a lot of time one-on-one with you. Ask for more. Not every sub on the site is a fin sub or a financial sub, but you can make all of them financial subs. I really like to change the context of tipping of like, you are sacrificing something to me. Time is money. So you are giving me your time and attention with every tip. Your hourly wage actually translates to a dollar amount, right? And those are hours you spend at work. What if you gave them to me? So sort of asking for more or being like, I don't think you really want it. Sacrifice something for me. Show me how badly you want it is a really powerful tool. And once they get desperate enough and like really want to come or like really want to stroke their cock, like they just start tipping like crazy. And then I have the triple digit rule. So no small tips, 100 credits and up. So it's really like built to just like clear out the credits, which sounds like I'm really using them, but it's the game they're playing. They sign up for it. They can leave at any point in time. And then again, use the notes feature. It's great for their likes and dislikes. I like to use it for petty infractions of like, this guy was really bad at remembering my title last time, or this guy kept breaking the triple digit rule last time. And then when they come into the room, I can hold that against them and be like, oh, hey, you owe me. You fucked up last time. So you owe me this time. You're going to make up for it. And again, it makes them feel special and remembered, but it also gives me a lot to work with in their private.
Ok, chicos, so, número 5, hacer preguntas. Esta va a ser la forma de la que vas a poder conocer mejor al cliente. Preguntarle qué tipo de juguetes tiene disponibles, cuáles son tus fantasías, qué tipo de herramientas o cosas tiene que tú puedes usar en este tipo de shows donde tú vas a ser la persona dominante para, uno, alargarlo y dos, formar una conexión más fuerte. El número 6 es que el orgasmo es como el fin para este tipo de cliente, para el cliente sumisivo, pero no es una garantía. Eso es algo que le puedes dar en algunos momentos, pero no es algo que tienes que darle permiso cada show que hagas. Y lo otro que digo, Katharine, es siempre hay que negar y hacer que te rueguen. Hacer eso les crea esa fantasía, porque van a estar rogando para que tú les des permiso para hacer X. Y ya que por fin les das permiso, les va a encantar tanto y es como una droga para ellos. Es como que ellos van a quererlo más y más y más cada vez más y van a seguir regresando a ti. Eso es muy, muy importante en este tipo de show con clientes sumisivos, negar varias veces y hacer que te rueguen para alargar el show y para fortalecer esa relación entre dominante y sumisivo. Número 8, pedir más también. Una cosa que hace Katharine, ella pone el ejemplo de que el tiempo es dinero. El cliente dándote más tips, pagándote más en la página, es como ellos están haciendo un sacrificio por ti. Y como el sumisivo, eso es como la fantasía. Otra cosa también que hace Katharine tiene una regla del triple dígito. Ella no acepta créditos de menos de 100. Por ejemplo, si un cliente le manda 80, ella lo pone en las notas. El cliente me mandó 80 este día. Cuando él le regrese, ella le va a decir, oye, la última vez que nos vimos, tú me rompiste la regla del triple dígito. O la última vez que nos vimos, se te olvidó llamarme princesa o por mi título, ahora me debes. Ahora vas a tener que rogar más, vas a tener que pagar más porque me debes de cuando hiciste el error la última vez. Y sí, las notas igual, tienes que usar esas notas para poder seguirle la fantasía, porque cuando él regrese, así tú vas a saber exactamente lo que hizo bien o lo que hizo mal la última vez.
Everything?
Yeah,
I forgot the plus 3 that time. Got on a roll. All right, common subtypes. So these are types that I come across a lot on cam. Masochists, they're not so common, actually. They're rare, and I adore them because I am a sadist. But they're just the ones that like to hurt themselves in creative ways. Just figuring out ways to make it hard for them, whether that is staying in a position for a really long time, different types of spanking. They'll usually have some toys of their own. But if a guy's a masochist, he likes pain. Bondage sub and gear guys. Some guys just want to show you all the stuff they bought on Amazon on Cam to Cam and like basically set themselves up. And so it's about like figuring out what they have, how they can creatively use it, and like playing up what they're doing and being like, oh, that's so cool. Oh, it would be so sexy if you did this. Oh, I love to watch you struggle in this. Cock control and denial. I mix a bit of this into everything. But some guys specifically just want jerk off instructions. Often like cum eating instructions, CEI. If anyone asks for CEI, it's cum eating instruction will be part of this too. Though that also can play into some other ones like sissification. But some guys just want you to make them denied, and that they want you to tell them exactly how to stroke their cock. Some guys don't really want a dom version of this. They just want, a sexy girl to tell them how to work their dick. So sort of feeling that out. Some guys will want you to be more sensual. Some will want you to be more strict. And you'll kind of develop more of a feel for it. It's okay to flub a few. Like I said, there's always going to be more customers coming. So like if you're like, oh, that was so clumsy and awkward, it's okay because you learned something, and that alone is worth it. Sissy guys, they're guys who like to be feminized. Often they will have like forced by fantasies. We don't like to use the word forced. So usually I will be like, you really want this. I don't need to force you to do anything. But it's more about like putting on lingerie, being made into a slut. Often strap-on play will come into this, but not always. And so it's more like making them into the cam model. I'll often have them put on shows for me if they want to use cam to cam. And so I'm sitting there and they're suddenly doing the show. Fin sub, that's financial submission. The whole idea there is that you deserve their money more than them, and nothing will make them happier than giving you their money. Like wasting their money on video games or a nice car or drinks with the boys or even Starbucks in the morning will not make them as happy as giving you their money. So they should do that. And sort of working with that whole idea, like you deserve their money more. This is their key to true happiness. I'll pause there because that's already a lot.
Ok, chicos, vamos a hablar sobre los diferentes tipos de clientes sumisivos. El primero, dice Katharine, que es como el que es menos frecuente en la página y son masoquistas. Son personas que les gusta el dolor, les gusta infligir dolor en otros. Esos tipos de show van a ser shows de darse nalgadas, pegarse, cosas así, pero no son tan frecuentes. El segundo son los clientes de bondaje o clientes que tienen muchas herramientas fetiches y regularmente en la experiencia de Katharine son clientes que quieren hacer cam de cam y quieren enseñarte todo lo que acaban de comprar, todos sus juguetes, sus herramientas, sus ropas así, cosas así. En ese tipo de show es importante ser creativo y decirle, wow, qué padre, me encanta, me encantaría si lo usaras de esta forma, o qué sexy si usaras ese juguete así, o así como crearle fantasías de cómo pueden usar todas esas cosas que compraron. El tercero, dice Katharine, que es como súper común y algo que ella trata de usar en todos sus shows, y es control de las partes privadas. En este tipo de shows, controlar cuándo se pueden tocar, cuándo pueden masturbar, cuándo pueden terminar, y también negarles eso. Ellos te piden que quieren tocarse, tú le dices, no, ese tipo de show. El otro son clientes que quieren ser feminizados, quieren que tú los hagas sentir como que son súper femeninos. Lo que digo, Karen, que se me hizo súper interesante es que en esos tipos de show, en su mente es como que si ella estuviera convirtiendo al cliente en una modelo webcam. Decirles que se pongan lencería, decirles que le hagan shows. Los tipos de shows que regularmente hacen decirle, oye, hazme un baile, oye, hazme un striptease, ponte esa lencería que me gusta. Ese tipo de show para hacerlos sentir así femeninos, de esa forma. El otro que platicó son los sumisivos financieros. Ella trata de convertir a todos los sumisivos en este tipo porque son donde ellos se sienten sumisivos con su dinero a ti. Lo que ella hace es, por ejemplo, decirles, si a un cliente le encantan los videojuegos o les encanta el Starbucks, ir por café, decirles, ¿sabes qué? Gastar en mí te va a hacer sentir mejor que comprar ese videojuego o que comprar ese café, gasta en mí en vez de hacer eso. Lo mismo que dijo anteriormente, hacerlos sentir como que ellos dándote dinero es un sacrificio, es como ellos siendo submisivos a ti. All right, all you.
Foot and body worship subs. Usually there will be a specific body part they're really into, whether it's your mouth, whether it's your ass, whether it's your feet. Specifically, feet is really common. There's a whole thing with the sensory homunculus there. You could do a whole thing on why foot fetish is a thing. But basically, again, it's just like figure out what they're obsessed with and then deny them and make them work for it. They aren't sure. Try stuff. Ask them what they're interested in. Give them a list of options and see what sounds good. Mold them into the sub you want them to be. Small penis humiliation or humiliation in general. Make fun of their tiny cock, even if it's not that small. Get creative with it. Compare it to tiny stuff. Jack off your finger. Can you find out? Do you need a microscope? It's just, you just talk a lot of shit. Like, just talk a lot of shit. And then chastity, these are guys who like chastity devices. If they ever ask for key holding, I don't suggest letting them mail you a key. I like to make them freeze it in ice and put like a drop of food coloring in the ice before they freeze it and send me check-in pictures because they won't be able to get the same pattern on the ice again if they unfreeze it. And that way you aren't holding the cage to some guy's cock who may need to get it off in a medical emergency and you're, miles and miles away and would have to mail it back to him. So yeah, but that's basically wearing chastity devices, not being allowed to jerk, not being allowed to touch their cock. And that's generally the basic types I run into.
Ok, chicos, el siguiente son los clientes que les encanta una parte del cuerpo. Lo más común es los pies, pero a veces también quieren los músculos, los brazos, o sea, diferentes partes del cuerpo y les encanta hacer shows así. Y este es como súper común. Los otros clientes van a ser clientes que quizás no tienen idea, o sea, te dicen que quieren un show fetiche, pero no saben qué es lo que quieren hacer o no saben cuáles son sus gustos. Son estos ejemplos, hay que darles ejemplos, hay que darles ideas, decirle, oye, ¿por qué no tratamos esto? ¿Por qué no tratamos esto? Para poder ir como averiguando qué es lo que les gusta y del otro lado también como tratar de formarlos en el tipo de cliente sumisivo que tú prefieres o que sea mejor para ti. El otro es el SPH, que también dice Katharine, es súper común en la página. A ver, lo digo en español como... Son los clientes que quieren que tú les digas que tienen el pene súper chiquito, súper pequeño. Katharine dice que en muchos ejemplos a veces te entran a la sala, hacen el cam to cam y no lo tienen pequeño. Si el cliente quiere eso, es importante, aunque sea súper grande, pretender como si fue... Exacto, humillación de pene. So, es importante fingir que sea súper pequeño, compararlo con cosas súper chiquito. Algunos ejemplos que yo, Katharine, es que decirles que se masturben el dedo o decirles que si necesitan un microscopio para poder verse o verlo. Cosas así para humillarlo, para hacerlo sentir que es súper pequeño. El último es, no sé cómo se dice en español, pero es chastity y básicamente es donde tienen algo que no les permite tocarse, o quizás es castidad, gracias. No soy experto en el fetiche, yo también estoy aprendiendo mucho hoy, pero sí, que no se puedan tocar. Algo que ella dice es que muchos clientes te van a decir que tú mantengas control de la llave. No es recomendable porque en muchos de los casos los clientes están súper lejos, es como un tema de seguridad, en este caso más bien la fantasía, que tú les dices cuándo se pueden quitar la castidad. Y esos son los tipos de clientes sumisivos más comunes en este tipo de páginas. All right, all you.
And then, of course, key holding services is something you charge a monthly fee for or weekly fee for. Don't do anything for free. All right, fetishes to avoid or try and work around. So being in the fetish category, these are some things that I don't know. I get asked a lot, and all of them I don't do. With the new MasterCard regulations, we need to be a lot stricter and really err on the side of caution in what we're doing. So blackmail and ruination, those are two things fin subs will ask for. I don't do either. I don't believe in bleeding the cow dry. So ruination is like leaving them destitute, taking them for everything they have, maybe home wrecking, like if their wife finds out how much they're spending. And blackmail, of course, is like extortion. And so both of those often can play into the fin-sub fantasy, but I don't do either because they are, well, in the case of blackmail, illegal, even if it's just role play, and also just not ethical. And ethics is really important to me in kink, especially when I am in the position of holding the control.
Ok, chicos, so esos son los fetiches o las cosas que hay que tratar de no hacer o de tratar de redireccionar al cliente a otro fetiche si se los pide. Especialmente como los bancos se están poniendo súper estrictos, todas las páginas de web nos tenemos que poner un poquito más estrictos también. So, la primera categoría son shows de chantaje o shows de arruinar a alguien de una manera financiera o quizás arruinar el matrimonio de alguien en la vida real. Ella no lo hace, uno, porque no es ético, y dos, porque por el ejemplo de chantaje es ilegal. So, este tipo de cosas, especialmente si ella es la persona que está en control, no lo haría. All right, all you.
Race play. So this one will come up often with small penis humiliation, where they'll want me to use the N-word to talk about how an N-word cock is better than theirs. Or sometimes guys will just ask this because white woman with a black guy is a common trope in the US. I don't use any sort of racial slurs. Our shows are recorded, so it could really easily have been taken out of context of like, oh, this person said the N-word and now they're canceled if someone leaks a recorded show. So I just avoid it. And I really don't like to do any race play anymore at all. A lot of Black porn performers and creators have spoken out against it more and more recently. It's really rooted in racist stereotypes. And it's just not for me. That's a choice I've made. And I feel if you're going to engage in that, you definitely should not use racial slurs and should think about the overall implications of it and where we are today.
So, otro que ella no hace son fantasías basadas en las raíces de alguien. So, por ejemplo, usar palabras que no son apropiadas, como en inglés la palabra que empieza con la N, que se usa de manera derogatoria para describir a alguien de orígenes de África o cosas así. No le gustan, uno, porque esos videos quedan grabados. So, por ejemplo, un cliente puede grabarlo y fuera de contexto publicarlo y se va a ver como que tú estabas haciendo algo, racismo, exacto. So, no le gusta hacer cosas racistas. Uno, por el tiempo en el que estamos. Dos, porque no es algo con lo que ella se siente cómoda. Y tres, porque como todo esto está en línea, todo esto puede salir y sería fácil que alguien lo sacara y fuera de contexto pareciera como que si eso fuera tu opinión, aunque fuera una fantasía. All right, all you.
Sissification that uses homophobia. So a lot of like sissy guys will want you to call them the F slur for gay men. I don't do that. I don't think it's right to do that. I don't think that their fetish and role play is worth perpetuating a derogatory term for a class of people. It's just avoid it. You don't need to do it, so why do it? Age play, it's against site rules. Even if you're acting young, we need to be really careful right now, and it's just gross. No hate to bigs and littles doing that in their bedroom at home, but I feel like as cam stars, as professionals, it's something we really need to avoid, especially in the current climate. And then finally, incest role play. Even if it's step siblings, it gets to be like a really, or like daddy or mommy, it gets to a really slippery slope of what can be interpreted by card processors as being inappropriate or being, what's the word for it? Not being okay. So err on the side of caution with all of these. If you want to partake in any of them, I'm not the arbiter of your behavior. I just find these come up and they are danger zones for falling into areas that will get you in trouble on the site and also get the site itself in trouble.
So, los últimos tres son sisificación, que usa palabras homofóbicas. Eso es algo con lo que ella no se siente cómoda, por lo mismo de que puede salir fuera de contexto y no es algo con lo que ella se sentiría, palabras que ella no se sentiría cómoda diciendo en la vida real o en cámara. Las últimas dos categorías son las categorías que son prohibidas en la página en general. Lo que ella dijo también es que estas solamente son sugerencias de ella. Ella no es la jefa del mundo de fetiche, qué se puede hacer o no hacer, y no es que esté juzgando a gente que les guste esto, es más bien lo que ella recomienda para mantenerse, para no meterse quizás en un problema por accidente. Los últimos dos sí son unos que son prohibidos en la página, que es juegos o fetiches basados en la edad. No se puede decir que uno es menor de edad, es contra las reglas de la página, es contra las reglas bancarias, eso no se puede. Lo último es el incesto, no se puede decir que eres el papá o la mamá o el hermano o la hermana. Y otra cosa que es importante también es tener en cuenta que tampoco se debería hacer que eres el hermano por matrimonio o el primo, cosas así que son como familiares más no tan hijastro, gracias, no tan cercanos, aún es así como que uno nunca sabe. Esas dos son los que no se pueden, los otros sí se pueden, pero son recomendaciones de ella no hacerlos. All you.
All right, final page. It took me so much longer to cover everything than I thought it would. Sorry, guys, we're a little over. Resources. Here's some resources. I just copy and pasted them into the chat too. The ones with stars by them. Oh, I should have started the kink workshops too. So the kink workshops and the oyesplease.org, they do charge for their workshops. So there is a bit of it's not a free resource, but they are usually very good sources for information on specific topics or how-tos. With FetLife, it is like a social media platform for kinky people. You're going to get people in your DMs, whether you say you're not looking for anything in your profile or not. It comes with the territory. So be forewarned, like people are there to hook up and like use it as a dating site, but it's also like really good for kink community. It's really good for asking questions. There's a wealth of knowledge on there. And the rest of them are kind of just like good resources. Plus use Google. If someone asks you for something that you're not familiar with, Google it. Like I had a guy come to my room and be like, hey, I'm interested in sounding. And I was like, I know what that is, but I don't know how to do it safely. Let me do some research, which is inserting rods into the urethra, for those of you unfamiliar. So, you know, I had to figure out how to ask him to do it in a safe way, which meant doing research on my part, which meant a lot of Googling. But that is the end of this presentation. I think we have a couple questions. We are over time though, so.
That was amazing, Katharine. Let me translate that real quick. So, chicos, estas son enlaces para páginas en donde hay mucho material. Si quieren saber más del mundo fetiche o cosas específicas, las que tienen estrellitas son como las que ella más recomienda. Aquí se puede aprender muchas cosas. Y lo último que ella dijo es que si alguien te entra a tu sala y tú no sabes lo que te está pidiendo o no eres familiar con el tipo de fetiche, usa Google. Ella hasta el otro día alguien le preguntó hacer un tipo de show que ella no tenía conocimiento. Entró a Google y aprendió un poquito más de cómo hacerlo seguramente, aprender más de cuál es la fantasía. So, usar Google va a ser tu mejor amigo en este mundo de fetiche. Si tienen preguntas, mándenlas ahorita y vamos a contestarlas. Oh my God, Catherine, thank you so much. That was literally so good. Like, I learned so much. There's so much stuff in there that I'd never heard of, that I'd never talked about. So that was amazing. Guys, if you have any last minute Q&A questions, send them over and we'll go through a few of them.
I mean, I've got time. So if you guys have time, I could stay here for a while longer.
And I want everyone at the end of this to give Catherine a huge thanks, because she put this presentation together on her own. She, lent us her time and she shared a lot of valuable information with us. So let's see. What question? So we got one question from Amber J. She says, let me translate it. Oh, what would be your tip if somebody comes in and wants to be the submissive, as the customer wants to be the submissive, but doesn't want to tell you what they want? And like their whole thing is that they want you to guess what type of submissive they are, or what it is that they're looking for.
I would flip the script on them and tell them the rules. If they want to be submissive, they're going to act submissive. And if they aren't going to set limits and boundaries for themselves, then I'm going to call the shots. And of course, I'm going to do it in a safe way. I'm not going to be like, slam your dick in the door then. But if they aren't going to give me anything, then I'm going to give them something.
So, Amber, para contestar tu pregunta, ¿qué hacer cuando un sumiso entra y solo quiere que uno le adivine lo que le gusta y no contesta? Lo que Catherine hace es ella cambia todo para el cliente, porque tú eres la que está encargada. So hay que decirle, ¿sabes qué? Este es mi cuarto, yo soy la que está a cargo, estas son las reglas. Eso les encanta a los sumisivos. Así acerta que tú eres el dominante en la sala, y así puedes ir como guiándolo. Y le puedes empezar a acomodar órdenes, claro, seguras, y así para irle dando el show. What do you answer when members ask you to blackmail them? For example, blackmail with like posting a photo of them on social media or something.
I just say I don't do that. Period. Point blank. I mean, you can fake it, but I feel like you get into a real dangerous area if you do even entertain the idea of it, at least for this site and its rules. So I just say I don't do it. And if they don't want to do a show, they don't want to do a show. Otherwise, like, I can be like, I don't think I need to blackmail you. I don't do that. I don't think I need to. I think you want to do this. I think you really do. And sort of like stop playing games, dude. Like, I don't need to force you. I don't need to blackmail you. Just give in to what you really want and stop trying to like make excuses for yourself.
So, chicos, la pregunta es, ¿qué hacer cuando un cliente te pregunta por un chantaje? Por ejemplo, que postees una foto de sus partes privadas o algo personal a redes sociales o algo así. Catherine simplemente les dice que ella no lo hace, no tiene que hacerlo. Eso es algo que esta persona quiere, que ella no tiene que hacer. Y también recordarle que paren de hacer excusas y en vez de pedir cosas así, que solamente hagan lo que es su fantasía o hagan lo que quieran hacer. Royal Margot asks if there's any books you recommend for DOMs.
So some of the resource sites I linked to have libraries. Honestly, I haven't read a lot of books. I just follow a lot of femdoms and sort of like watch their game. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, I can link you to some accounts that I suggest following of women that I really expect their hustle.
Lexi asked, why is fisting not allowed as a kink option? And Lexi, the reason is it's not necessarily a site rule of ours. It's a bank rule. So in order for credit card processing, payment companies to work for us, we have all adult sites have rules we have to follow. And fisting is one of the things that they don't allow, as well as, any sort of bathroom shows, like, golden shower type shows. Unfortunately, it's just, it's their rule. We have to follow it for them to work with us. So Lexi pregunta por qué el fisting no es contra las reglas de la página, y lo que le contesté es que esa de hecho no es regla de nosotros como página, es regla bancaria. So para que los bancos, las compañías de pago trabajen con compañías como la de nosotros, páginas web o páginas adultas, tenemos que seguir esas reglas y esa es una de las reglas que hicieron, igual que como shows de orinarse o cosas así que también no son, son contra las reglas de ellos, tenemos que adquirir. Lexi asked if this webinar is recorded. Yes, it is. So this is recorded. If you click the same link, like a few minutes after this ends, it'll take you right back to the pre-recorded show. Ooh, Cassandra Diaz has a good question. What's the best way to deviate from age and race play?
So for race play, which to answer another question, it is allowed on the site. I just really don't like participating in it myself. And I believe using racist slurs, particularly the N-word, is not allowed on the site, really. But like, what are they going to do? It's your choice if you want to do it. I just advise against it. But the best way to deviate for race play is just like say big cock, so huge, or like, you know, hint at it, but don't actually touch the like race issue, or fall into that. And like if they leave, they leave. I don't like doing it. If you're comfortable doing it and you want to be like, oh, I fucking love your big black cock, like that works for you. I just am not comfortable with that as a choice for me anymore in this day and age because of what I've heard from Black content creators about their feelings on it. But it's really up to you, aside from using the N-word. Don't do that. And as far as age play goes, I usually take a real hard line with that. I'm just like, I'm sorry, I can't act like I'm young. I can't do that. If you want me to be really innocent and use my baby voice, like I can do that, but we can't say that I'm young. We can't say that I'm a teen, even if it's 18. Like we're not doing that. I am a consenting woman, and like hard line set that limit. And if they walk away, they walk away. You know, like I said, like don't be afraid. Like even if it's been a really slow day, never compromise your morals. Never do things that are uncomfortable or against say rules just to make a buck. It's not worth it in the long run, especially with the like breaking the rules thing, because if we lose our card processors, the whole site goes down. And it would suck if I was the model to do that. I'm sure you would feel bad if you were the model to do that. And it's just not worth it right now, because we need to be really careful as an industry, because we're basically the powers that be are trying to wipe us off the face of the map. There's so much anti-porn stuff going on right now, and so we all need to be really, really careful for the sake of each other.
So, chicos, la pregunta es, ¿qué hacer para, si un cliente te pide hacer una fantasía donde tú eres menor de edad, una fantasía racista o algo así, cómo sacarlo? Lo que Katharine aclaró es que fantasías racistas no son contra las reglas de la página, solo es algo que ella no hace porque no se siente cómoda haciendo. Ella ha hablado con... no se siente cómoda haciéndolo. Lo que ella hace es lo desvía. En vez de decir una palabra racista, puede describir el color de la piel o que el pene es súper grande y describir el color específico, cosas así. Con lo de la edad o ser menor de edad, eso es algo que no es permitido y ella no se siente cómoda haciendo. Lo que ella hace es les dice, ¿sabes qué? Podemos hacer una fantasía, pero no voy a pretender que soy súper joven o que soy menor de edad. Si gustas, puedo hablarte en una voz así como más de bebecita o algo así, pero no vamos a decir que que soy menor de edad o algo por el estilo, por lo mismo de que hay que tener cuidado con lo que hacemos y especialmente ahorita las compañías bancarias están muy estrictos con todo el tema de contenido adulto y solo están buscando formas para quitar cosas o para no trabajar con compañías. Eso es importante mantenernos al tanto.
Thank you for dropping that additional resource in the chat, Celeste. That's a new one to me too, so I'm going to check that out after this. And I just put my Twitter handle in the chat. If anyone wants to message me with questions, I'm available. So hit me up.
All right. The last question we have right now is from Blake Levi, and it's any tip to engage a FinDom?
So like, I'm not understanding the question. So as the cam model, you're trying to get a FinDom or engage in FinDom?
I think he's asking how to like engage like a FinDom customer.
Okay, so a fin sub. Well, like I said, it's all about like contextualizing money. It's like not what it is, because really, money is like, yeah, it's currency. But really, it is happiness. It is power. It is time. And wouldn't you be happier spending your time on me than on anything else? You can also fill them out if they seem like they also really into like humiliation. Like make it seem like that's their only value, is being your wallet. A lot of them like to be referred to as your wallet or wallets, or piggies, like piggy banks. But really, unless someone is a fin sub, I shy away from like obliquely doing that and more like dance around and like, oh, I've turned you into a fin sub and you don't even know. But really like selling the idea of like, this will make you happier than everything else. This will give you value. It's the only thing that can give you value in life. You're just a wallet, et cetera, et cetera.
So, chicos, para Blake me preguntó cómo hacer para conseguir un cliente que es submisivo de manera financiera. Y lo que dijo Katharine es que es importante no hacerlo de una manera súper obvia, porque no todos lo van a hacer. Que más bien hay que hacerlo de una forma más como discreta, donde no se den cuenta necesariamente qué es lo que estás haciendo. Lo que ella hace es, ella usa el dinero no como dinero, pero como una idea. Hacerlos sentir que ellos son tu cartera o tu alcancía. Hacerlos sentir que gastar en ti va a ser mejor que gastar en cosas extras X de su vida, en una manera más así. Esos es como los tips que ella dio en esa categoría. All right, I think we answered all the questions. Katharine, you are incredible. This was so informative. This was so great. I think everyone here learned a ton. I just want to thank you so, so much for doing this with us. And guys, if you guys want to see another fetish webinar and have specific topics you want to learn more about, let us know. Katharine has already agreed to do another of these or a series of these on more specific categories if there's other things you guys are looking to learn about. So email us, let us know. Katharine, you are the best. Thank you so, so, so much.
And I don't know if there's a way to share the presentation. A few people have asked for that. If you message me on Twitter, I can send you the Google thing, or I think probably we can share it through Flirt too.
Yeah, anyone who wants the presentation, just send us an email at assist@flirtforfree.com and we'll shoot it out to you guys.
Yeah. But yeah, and again, I put my Twitter handle in there, so feel free. If you have a question, if you're like, this guy is asking for this, I don't know what it is, I'll try and get back to you as quickly as possible. I'm really passionate about education. I have a lot of mentors coming up, and I would love to pay that forward now at this point in my life. So I am here to help.
You're the best. Thank you, Katharine. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Every model that joined today gets a 2,000 power boost point that'll be added right after this ends. And we'll see you next month with some more webinars.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.